Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And, of course, taped live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. At the Twitch this weekend, man, check this out. Tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, we've got the Smash Zone. We're going to be watching some War Games matches, or at least parts of the better War Game matches that are out there. And we're going to watch some Press Your Luck. It's a wild time, man. It's you, me, the Enforcer. We just have a good time watching a bunch of random stuff.
Yep.
On Friday, Impact Wrestling's Against All Odds. It's the first of the month, therefore predictions begins on the first of the month.
Sorry, it's the what?
First of the month.
Thank you.
So check the cupboard.
Thank you.
So we're going to be watching Against All Odds, the Phil Collins homage pay-per-view. Why they didn't call it Impact in the Air tonight?
Well, they should have that. They should have Impact Take Me Home, Impact Studio, Impact Easy Lover,
Impact You Can't Hurry Love,
Impact Land of Confusion.
That should be their mania. Replace
really
Slammiversary with Land of Confusion. I want a Land of Confusion match. Sammy Callahan versus Moose. Give me that. And the ring keeps on moving around. Hey, that's a good one.
That's a good idea. That's a great idea.
Of course, Saturday is Money in the Bank. I look back there because I got a attaché case / lunchbox for Money in the Bank over there.
Are we going to do the thing with Money in the Bank this year like we did last year? Where if you get your pick right, then you pick a number out of there?
Yeah.
That means we all have to make unique picks though, right? We have primary picks and secondary picks, I believe.
I don't know, man. I'm down to do it. I'm totally down to do it. Right. But right here is probably not the time because it requires some amount of thought. And I got one thing on my mind. That's blood and guts. We're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about some NXT tonight. We're going to answer some of your questions. And we're going to talk about Kenny Omega potentially retiring. Have we seen the sad last days of Kenny Omega in wrestling? But first, let's talk about this. Is the WWE trying to bring Sasha Banks back on June 15th? I'll do this one. You do the Kenny one.
Sure.
Back on June 15th, Wrestling Inc.'s Raj Giri reported that Sasha Banks had been released by WWE. While additional reports suggest that Sasha's legal team had been in discussions about her getting released from her contract, WWE had never actually officially announced that the boss was departing the company. Today, Raj offered up some more details. He tweeted this. He says, "Here's what I know about Sasha Banks. She was released on June 10th, and it came from Erica Schreiber, VP of Business and Legal Affairs for Talent Relations. As for why WWE has not said anything or removed her, the rumor is that leadership is trying to smooth things over. Just to be clear, Sasha Banks' release was done by Erica Schreiber, VP of Business and Legal Affairs of Talent Relations. Not that the news came from her. I would never out a source." Later on, Raj Giri would add some clarification from his initial report. Says, "I deleted the original tweet since there was some confusion. To clarify, I heard Sasha Banks. She was released on June 10th. The release came from the VP of Business and Legal Affairs for Talent Relations and not John Laurinaitis, who usually handles those." Mm-hmm. So, Larson, it seems like maybe WWE, coming to their senses, understands Sasha Banks is on the precipice of becoming a crossover mainstream star. She has that potential. She's already kind of dabbling in those waters a little bit. Probably not a great idea to lose her at this time over something like creative unfulfillment, when all you got to do is just write something different and then she might be happy.
Or better yet, get her involved in what's written for her. Mm-hmm. Get input. This sounds fairly familiar. Circumstances completely different, but familiar to what happened to Jeff Hardy. They said to him, "Go to rehab or you get released." He said, "I'm not going to rehab." He got released, and then what? Soon they're like, "Oh, we didn't want to let him go." So they tried to bring him back.
Yeah, you want a Hall of Fame spot? It's like, what? I'm going to get that anyways.
yeah, I know.
Even if I leave, you're going to give that to me.
I'll wait 5 years. I'll get that anyways.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, it's look, it's who knows if somebody here in chat had mentioned I'd seen that also. It's like, well, Stephanie's the interim CEO at this point. Maybe she has something to do with it. Maybe that could entirely be possible. I have no idea. In any event,
I will say this: while Stephanie is the interim CEO, same head of creative though.
Yeah, that's totally
Vince.
true. Yeah,
and until Vince is out of the picture, the same problem could potentially persist.
You know how I know Vince is very much still in the picture, Larson? Because he shows up on my fucking TV once a week to let me know. So yeah, you're right. He's still the head of creative. He still shows up on TV, and yeah, I don't know. I had speculated when people say, "Hey, maybe she's gonna go to Stardom, or maybe she's gonna go to AEW." I've never really thought. I know she loves wrestling. I get that.
Yeah.
But she also loves wrestling, I think, my opinion, on the biggest stage possible. And that to this point is still WWE. And I think that when she left, in her head, she's like, because she's kind of done this before when she's like, hey, I didn't like how you treated the tag titles. I'm going to leave for a bit. And then she came back. And so I think she understands, hey, I'm kind of a big enough deal, or maybe it's a heat check. I don't know. Hey, let's see if I'm big enough. I can leave and then and have put my lawyers on it, and then see if they understand what I am, and then and see if I can get what I want. We'll see if I can get my cake and eat it too.
Yeah. And then if I don't, I'm gone. Yeah. Who knows? And we probably won't know until either WWE issues a statement saying, Sasha Banks, best of luck in your future endeavors, or she shows back up on TV.
Yeah.
You mentioned Kenny Omega. We haven't seen Kenny Omega since Full Gear of last year. He's been out with seemingly half a dozen different injuries. And many of us have been wondering, granted, we want to give Kenny all the time he needs to heal, but when he might come back to the ring. So during a CEO Gaming Twitch stream, Kenny said that perhaps we may never see him back in the ring. These transcripts come to you from WrestleZone. This is what the cleaner had to say. Quote, look, if I get another major setback, that's it. I'm done because I can't do this ever again. It's like 2 times, 3 times a day, really painful rehab. Without even knowing what it's going to be like once I get back in the ring, I have no clue. It's scary, actually. And you see some people that come back to the ring and you're just happy to see in the back. And I think that there's a different kind of expectation put on me. And I think that anything less than what they're expecting, which is already unrealistic, is going to lead to a lot of ridicule, which is what I get every day anyway. So you can probably imagine how difficult it is struggling 3 times a day, trying to get things to work that never maybe worked before, and trying to reroute things in your brain to get around the things that aren't going to heal. People think, oh, Kenny's hurt. He took time off. Snap your fingers. I come back 100%. Life doesn't work that way. Bodies don't work that way. Athletes don't work that way. It's very difficult to formulate this plan and to execute it, and we'll see how I do. I mean, the list of injuries he was dealing with, not even to mention the vertigo. A knee injury, that can potentially keep you out for months. Depending on the nature of the shoulder injury, that can keep you out for months. And he's been dealing with the vertigo since 2017. I don't know what can be done for that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the cause of it is. I know he said it was from a G1 match, taking the knee to the head after the Okada drop kick. I don't know if there's a way that he can recuperate from that enough where it's not a constant issue for him. I just don't know.
Yeah.
And if he's approaching his return to the ring as in, I'm never going to be that Kenny Omega again.
Yeah.
The one who was getting 5-star matches in 2015, 16, 17, 18.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Then he has to go and, as he says here, kind of relearn how to do certain things. And I would imagine, to a large degree, change up his style while meeting the expectations of what fans expect from his matches.
Yeah.
And that's tough.
I think he is the kind of guy who, number one, I think there's a couple things. Number one, just from reading this, it has to be pretty deflating to go into rehab 2 to 3 times a day to experience that kind of pain and just be fucking done with it. And who knows how often his mood changes having to go through that. Maybe he was just caught at a particularly deflating moment. Maybe he's got ups and downs during the day. I would imagine so. He's a human being. We all know what that's like. I would suggest that Kenny Omega is such a genius in the ring. Physically speaking, the athletic stuff that he does is sort of like he can put on the amazing matches just as a ring psychologist. That being said, clearly, his headspace is such that that's up in the air whether he thinks he can deliver to the degree he wants to, and that's entirely up to him. He is probably one of the guys who would be like, man, I'd be very interested to see, it's not like when Shawn Michaels came back, he had changed up his game. He had to, because he was, 4 years older, and 10 years earlier, his body had not been through nearly the wear and tear. And so he became one of the best. He was already one of the best storytellers in the game, but that just went into overdrive. And you had those amazing Shawn Michaels matches at the second half of his career. And so I don't know. I could see Kenny doing that. I mean, maybe at some point, hopefully, I guess the best case scenario is hopefully there's some light at the end of the tunnel for rehab. And he feels good enough where he's like, hey, you know what? Physically speaking, athletically speaking, I can't be putting on the DDT matches that I used to put on, or even the 2017 matches. But maybe he'd take it as a challenge to learn how to tell a compelling story even more so than he already can.
With a less physically demanding approach. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, man, it's nice to understand where he's coming from as a Kenny fan. To understand, hey, and he's always been very transparent. Remember when that spotlight was on him before AEW? It's like, where's he going to go? Where's he going to sign? And he was trying to be as transparent as possible, without giving away, what was going on with negotiations. So, honestly, at the end of the day, I think you can agree, whatever makes Kenny happy is what we want him to do.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
As fans of his, if he wants to get back into pro wrestling and he feels physically he can do it and put on the kind of performance that he wants to put on, then he's going to get the loudest reactions and the biggest ovation because everybody loves him. So yeah, whatever. Our positive energy goes out to Kenny Omega and what seems like a really tough time for him.
Yeah, I mean, the list of injuries he was dealing with that we knew about. It
was nuts. It was nuts.
And wrestling, how he's wrestled, an incredibly physical style for, at the least the last dozen years, probably longer than that.
Yeah.
I know he's been wrestling longer than that. That takes its toll. I know he's dealt with injuries in the past, and I know he's come back from injuries really quickly. He tore his meniscus at one point in New Japan. It was back in like 2 weeks. That's unheard of.
Yeah.
So, hopefully he is taking time to heal, to recover. And, if he hits a wall and finds like, okay, like if it's just not really worth it for him anymore to put himself through this, then walk away.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's still a young man. He's got a lot of life ahead of him.
Yeah.
And to go get back in the wrestling ring, not anywhere close to 100%, risk injuring yourself even further, it's not worth it.
Yeah. 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 Well, that's his decision to make, and I'm sure he'll make it with the confidence. And who knows, maybe he'll step away. Maybe he'll do like what Shawn Michaels did. He steps away for a couple of years, and then one day he's like, you know what, I get the itch. Sometimes it's not a matter of. You would think that sometimes it's not a matter of, well, I'm rehabbing to come back. Maybe it's just, hey, rehab just to get your life together and get good
and heal
and worry about the rest later. But I understand he's got a lot of pressures on him. He's an EVP of a company, and it's obvious in that last, until he left, for the 2.5 years or whatever he was there with AEW. He was the guy, like he was that entire company was built basically on Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. And of course, obviously Cody Rhodes. I mean, let's not forget, that guy was really putting it all together. That's why AEW is really in the pits. Let's talk about how terrific AEW's Dynamite was tonight, man. Blood and guts. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Just tons of fun, man. Tons of fun.
Yeah, you got plenty of blood. You got plenty of, well, we didn't get any guts. That'd have been taking things too far.
Yeah, well, yeah, you don't want entrails.
I've been taking things way too far.
You know,
we did see a lot of blood, though. But even before the blood guts match, I thought the show overall was really solid. Had a fun opening bout between Orange Cassidy and Ethan Page. Steve's favorite wrestler, Christian Cage. Another great promo.
Oh man, that promo was hilarious.
We got
or heel Christian Cage is something is great. I said he was going to be great as a heel, and it came true.
Yeah. We saw heel Luchasaurus.
Yeah,
with the very ominous, menacing new entrance. A lot of fire. It's pretty neat. We saw Billy Gunn choose the Acclaimed over his own sons.
I would as well. You know, that's a no-brainer right there.
Indeed. Another fun Jade Cargill match, and then blood and guts. Last year's was fun. It got some heat towards the end, the finish where Jericho took a fall off the cage, and they tried to create a safe environment for him to land so he wouldn't really hurt himself. Apparently still dislocated his elbow. And just because we could see some cardboard boxes underneath where he landed, it was like, oh gosh, you've broken the illusion of professional wrestling for me.
Oh, we didn't say anything like that. The internet,
no, we did.
The internet did.
That's what I'm saying.
But you and I were like, look, what do you want this guy to do?
I know.
Look, Larson and I, we are two of the biggest pearl clutchers when it comes to be. As soon as Jericho started climbing that, I was like, no, man, we don't need the fall.
Don't need it.
We don't need the fall. And Sammy Guevara, I understand the dude is a professional. And he was up there measuring, selling, but also measuring out, okay, there's my landing spot. And we talked about this during the pre-show, and I cannot stress this enough. And I would love to sort of quiz him about this because it's fascinating to me. So what was extra impressive about the Sammy Guevara fall, I'm just going to go there now.
Sure.
Was... So when he does a crazy move, like let's take a couple of ladder matches he's done, like with Cody, and then the other one he goes up to the top of that really tall ladder, and then he hits a cutter off it, right? Or he jumps and does the sunset, whatever he does. And it's like when you do something crazy like that, or even when you go to the top, and he did whatever that crazy move was at one time when he sort of did the crazy motion with his hand in the head.
And
it looked like he almost had he basically landed on his head.
Oh, against Scorpio Sky.
Right. Yes. Thank you. And with those moves, you would think that, okay, I can concentrate on the acting part of it is sort of hand in hand with executing the move. I'm trying to execute this move on this person, whatever that looks like, great. When he went off tonight, he got the low blow, and he had to make it seem kind of like he was out of it, like he had been, basically taken out. So he was like a dead body coming off the top of that, which you would think there's got to be some extra acting there, even though your body's basically you just let it fall.
Yeah, you just limp. Yeah,
but you can't act like you can't brace like this or anything. He just fell, and there's got to be like an extra process there to sort of let yourself just do that. It was nuts, but he hit that landing perfect.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely crazy. I didn't understand it when Foley did it. I never understand when anybody can do when Shane is one of the best at doing that shit.
Yeah. I wonder to a certain degree. I don't think you could totally prepare yourself for things like that. I think you do your best, and I think part of that's probably repetition.
Yeah.
And I wonder at a certain point you do enough crazy stuff, not necessarily a feeling of invulnerability per se, but just like, okay, I know how to fall. I
Oh, Sammy, come on, man. That if anybody in AEW, and I'm even including maybe Jeff Hardy too, the feeling of invulnerability, this kid has it. He needs to be careful, man.
I didn't want to presuppose that. I think my point was the idea that you've taken enough crazy falls, you feel comfortable enough controlling your body in high-risk situations. Diehard Homer mentions Darby too.
Absolutely, 100%.
That you go up there, you look at the situation, you're like, all right,
you understand how to jump and
how to angle yourself, and when to turn over and all that kind of stuff, and I'm sure. So that because early in the match I'd seen the timekeeper table there and saw how massive and huge it was, and I'm like, okay, that's where someone's going through. And they did a pretty good job of hiding it most of the match, but early on you could kind of see it. And so I was like, oh, okay, whoever's going off is going there. Okay, there he goes. Because I knew it wasn't going to be the stage again because that was all LED.
Yeah.
You land on that, that's bad.
Yeah, right.
So the table, and then it's obvious when Sammy landed, massive crash pad underneath there. It was as safe as they could. I mean, they could use a larger crash pad, so it's not as safe as they could have made it, but it seemed like it was a relatively safe situation.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And assuming that Sammy hits the spot.
Yeah.
What freaked me out more was the spin on top of the cage.
Go ahead.
Because I know Claudio's done that spot thousands of times.
Yeah.
It takes one little slip
up.
The
swing you're talking about.
The swing at the top of the cage. It takes one inadvertent, accidental little slip. And Jericho, depending on which way Claudio's spinning, is sliding off the edge of that cage towards the floor.
We're gonna have fun here. I have never seen that full slip ever at all. He is the most controlled. Claudio's basically like the $6 million man. It would not shock me if this man did he bleed tonight? Before. I don't think he bled tonight.
No,
did he bleed? It's probably oil if he does. I think he's a machine. I think he's an android.
But this is the difference between you and I.
Yeah.
I am at all times just completely overcome with varying degrees of anxiety. It could be low, it could be high, somewhere in the middle. This is my life. I accept it. This is who I am. I don't think you live in that constant state. And therefore, stuff like that doesn't cross your mind. Let's take a quick break here to get word from our sponsor, BetterHelp Online Therapy. Steve, you know, burnout is usually associated with work, but any of life's roles can leave you feeling overwhelmed and burned out without you really realizing it.
That's absolutely true, Larson. So if you're experiencing fatigue, irritability, or a lack of motivation, you could be dealing with burnout. And BetterHelp wants to remind you to prioritize yourself. And talking to someone can help you find out what's causing the stress in your life.
I've been there before. There have been times in my life where I wasn't taking enough time for myself, where I was feeling overwhelmed by life. So I've felt that fatigue, that lack of motivation, that irritability that comes with burnout. And I've gone through the process of trying to find a therapist, so I know how difficult it can be to find the right person to talk to. But BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to.
It's also much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. And right now, Going In Raw listeners can get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/raw. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
Before we get back to the show, let's get a word from our sponsor, Athletic Greens. You know me, Steve. I'm always on the lookout for ways to get more energy and improve my gut health. And now that I've started taking AG1, I'm getting 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start my day off right.
That's awesome, man. Athletic Greens is the one thing with the best things. It uses the best of the best products based on the latest science to support your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, sleep, mental clarity, and aging. Plus, it contains less than 1 gram of sugar and has no artificial anything, no gross chemicals, and no GMOs.
Yeah, I make myself a serving of AG1 first thing in the morning before I eat breakfast, and I've noticed that my gut health has improved and my energy has gone up. And it's been a breeze to work into my daily routine. And whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, AG1 can fit into your lifestyle, and it costs less than $3 a day.
And right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health.
To make it easy, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/raw. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/raw to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Let's go ahead and just dive into this, man.
Sure.
Orange Cassidy versus Ethan Page opened up the show. Chuck was there. Chuck Taylor was there.
Yeah, it was good to see Chuck.
Which
and
was
then
cool
Best
to
Friends
see.
had some awesome tie-dye tracksuits.
They look pretty neat, but we didn't see him for too long because Dan Lambert comes out with Page and he's like, hey, he says he runs down Orange Cassidy for being thin and being much smaller than Ethan Page. He says, hey, ref, check the best friends to see if they have their manager's license because of where they were there in where were they tonight?
Detroit.
Yeah,
Detroit,
that's
Michigan.
why they were in Michigan. Yeah, they said that over and over again. He says, we're in Detroit, we're in Michigan. They need to have their manager's license or else kick them from ringside, of course, the best friends. As we've seen personally, having sat next to them at StarCast, don't always have their shit together. And in this case, they did not have their manager's license. I remember Trent sitting down and saying, do you guys know how to get coffee stains out of my ring attire?
His jacket.
His entrance jacket. Yeah. Giant coffee stain on it. I was like, I don't know. What kind of material is that, man?
I think someone, I don't know if it was, someone suggested, of course, club soda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The story of this, as Lambert set up, was Cassidy, you're not strong enough to wrestle Ethan Page. And so throughout the match, Orange Cassidy kept trying to body slam Ethan Page. And of course, at basically every turn, early on especially, Ethan Page would just overpower him because he's larger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Probably outweighs him by like 50 pounds. He's good, 4 inches taller? Something like that?
Yeah.
And someone here, I apologize, I forgot the name. Someone here in chat mentions, well, they're in Detroit, of course, home of WrestleMania 3, and that was one of the stories in the Hogan-Andre match.
Well, yeah, one dude's huge.
Will Hogan
also huge.
Body slam Andre.
Yeah.
So anyways, you get a lot of the typical Orange Cassidy stuff, hands in pockets. He does, at one point, Lambert's on the apron, and he kind of goes over and pats him on the shoulders a little bit like he's punching him, but not. Towards the end, Orange is calling for the orange punch. Oh, that's when Lambert gets on the apron. Orange goes over, taps him on the shoulder a few times, act like he's actually going to punch him. Lambert flinches. And Lambert brought a bottle of orange juice with him.
And earlier on, when Orange was down on the floor, Lambert was doing the silly Orange Cassidy kicks.
Yes, to the head.
Him.
Yeah. So Lambert flinches, and so Orange takes the orange juice from Lambert, takes a drink of it. Page tries to attack Orange from behind. Orange ducks it, hits Page with a orange punch, spits orange juice in Lambert's face.
He missed him with orange juice, yeah.
Missed him, yes, sorry. Hits another orange punch on Page, and then gets Page up, body slam to get the win.
Yeah. That was good stuff. It was good stuff.
It was a fun match.
Crowd was really into it. After that, my favorite wrestler, Christian Cage.
Good. I'm happy you've embraced Christian.
I had said, this is nothing unexpected. I had said, if he turns heel, I'll probably love the guy. Sure enough, what I said ended up happening. So he shows up. He says, I was asked by upper management to come out and apologize for the insensitive, and then the crowd starts booing him. And he's like, okay, please, can I please just, can I please continue? He says, I've been asked to apologize for the insensitive remarks I made about Jungle Boy's family, specifically his father. He says, I've never apologized for anything I've done throughout my entire career. He says, so I'll say this, Jungle Boy, I'm sorry your entire family isn't dead. Well, except for your mom anyways. He says, so they didn't have to witness what I did to you 2 weeks ago. He says, well, everybody except for your mom. And he puts down the microphone. He says, call me. Mm-hmm. And then Tony just ends up giving him the mic and walking away in disgust. Yeah. He says, the only thing you scumbags in Detroit have going for it is that you're close to Canada. He says, you fans might be wondering why I'm in street clothes when I requested a match. And he's so tickled with himself. But it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And then Luchasaurus with his badass new sort of evil demon dinosaur entrance comes out.
Oh, it's great. It's fire everywhere. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty rad.
So they walk to the ring. And he's got a match against Serpentico. And I guess Serpentico was expecting Christian because once he realized Luchasaurus is his opponent, you could basically see him shitting his pants.
I'm pretty sure he started praying to God.
He did. He did. Yeah, he was just beside himself. I think he was holding his head like so.
Yeah, man.
And he just realized he was in for trouble. Thankfully for Serpentico, it didn't last very long. Luchasaurus won pretty quickly. He used a snare trap plus a nerve hold in the trapezius muscle to get the win. And then afterwards, Luchasaurus and Christian are starting to walk away. And Christian goes, hold on, do more. So Luchasaurus pulls Serpentico out of the ring, choke slams him on the floor. Serpentico just bounces.
Yeah, dude, yeah. That's pretty rough. Oof. I do kind of think that I could use a different finish for Luchasaurus.
Other than the snare trap?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's Jungle Boy's finish.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
Okay, and he just adds the
and he
nerve
does
hold
the thing to it. Okay, yeah. That's a good point. After that, we had Wardlow and Scorpio Sky in a no physicality interview. No physicality allowed here.
No physicality.
None. Unfortunately, it was a allow Wardlow to talk interview. They should not do that. So Sky says, Wardlow looks uncomfortable when he talks. I feel like he's just not into like this, whatever this is supposed to be.
I mean, it's probably more fun being a bad guy.
It's probably, yeah, like there's something to be said about just sort of sitting there and wincing and nodding and looking mean. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Sky says, I understand that you're feeling yourself lately. You beat up a lot of security guards, but I'm not a security guard. And last time you came after Jeannie, I pinned you.
Yeah.
And Wardlow says, I'm tired of talking. And I'm like, yes. And he says, but then he keeps on talking, Larson.
Yeah, I know.
You know why? Because it's Wardlow's World. Wardlow's World. Party time. Excellent. That's such a stupid joke. He tells Scorpio. Yeah, I know. He tells Scorpio Sky to bring. It's so bad. I'm sorry, everybody. He tells Sky to bring every member of America Top Team. He's going to beat their asses like they're security guards too. And then Sky challenges him next week to a TNT title match, and it's a street fight. So, like, anything goes.
Yeah.
Like, the entirety of America Top Team can come at Wardlow. Maybe to get him back on track, he's just completely going to decimate, like, actual fighters, Larson.
That shouldn't happen. I mean, he lost to Jake Hager at an MMA match at AEW.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I do. I would like not to.
It's funny, the beginning of that match was actually pretty solid until they started throwing, like, wild haymakers.
I'm trying to remember. For some reason, I think I was off that day, and I just sort of watched it because I had to, like, for the next week or something. But I remember like not even seeing the first part of that match. Everybody was like,
"Oh, the first 2 minutes were like, okay, they're approaching this like a real MMA fight," and it was decent.
I think Enforcer did that episode with you.
Oh, maybe. And then they started throwing wild haymakers at each other, and from there it was out the window. It was no good, but it started out all right. Anyways. Then we had Max Caster and Gun Club taking on Danhausen, a mystery opponent. Mm-hmm. So Max Caster, of course, has his rap beforehand. And then Danhausen comes to the stage and he announces his partners. They're somebody pretty good at the wrestling, and it's FTR.
Yeah, they're pretty darn good at the wrestling.
They are pretty good, and they showed that again here, that they're pretty good at the wrestling. Fun match. It's good to see Danhausen get a win.
Yes, that was really cool. That was good. But, you know, the bigger story beat here, of course, came towards the finish.
Absolutely. So Danhausen escapes the suplex. He tags in Dax. Dax and Cash, they're really good at the wrestling. They go on a huge run. Even though that Austin Gunn kind of botched his own finish. Or what used to be his finish.
Dax seemed pissed about that. Like, actually pissed.
It looks like they almost knocked heads. I'd be upset about that, too.
Yeah.
So anyways, Dax tags in Danhausen. He hits Austin Gunn with a pump kick. Looks for his finish, I think. And then so Billy distracts the ref. Anthony Bowen slides in the ring, out of the wheelchair into the ring. And he tries to hit Danhausen with the crutch. Danhausen ducks. And then Bowens hits Austin instead. Danhausen covers Austin to get the win. And so Colton and Austin, they're upset at Bowens. And so they're all arguing. And then Billy shoves Colton, I think.
He does.
And sides with the Acclaim.
Yeah. Yeah. Which any reasonable person, regardless of actual family affiliation, would do that. Yeah, this was funny because what's funny about it too is that Billy Gunn is so fucking huge that the shove seems so small, but like Colton sold the shit out.
He just goes flying halfway across the ring.
Yeah, he sold the shit out of it. Yeah, that was pretty great. After that, we had a video package, the never-ending feud between Satnam Singh and Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt versus Samoa Joe. Sanjay challenges Joe to a Ring of Honor TV title bout against Jay Lethal at Death Before Dishonor, recently. I mean, that's probably why this thing's just been endlessly going on, because they've been figuring out the whole our Ring of Honor situation.
Yes, exactly. Now they have a show, they can actually schedule the match. After that, we had Jade Cargill versus Layla Gray. This is another fairly short match. Layla got some of her stuff in the end, though. Jade wins with the pump kick. Jaded. So Stokely Hathaway gets in the ring, grabs the mic, and he's about to talk, and then Jade snatches the mic from him and says, "I'm tired of the fans and the one in the back bitching and moaning. Next time," to Stokely, "give me some real competition." And so Stokely gets the mic back and says, "See, she's fired up, and I know why. Jade gave an opportunity to everyone in the locker room, and it was Layla Gray. She doesn't even work here. She hasn't filed a W-2 yet. Had the wherewithal to seize the moment. So tell Chris Statlander and Athena that they're not overlooked. They're just being lazy. So this brings out Athena and Statlander. They sprint down the ring. They get the upper hand. So Chris is holding up Jade while Athena looks for O-Face. And then Stokely goes over to Layla Gray and whispers something to her. And so she then pushes Athena off the top rope. And then Jade and Kira lay them out. And then Layla extends her hand to Stokely. Jade walks by, pushes it away, and leaves.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. After that, and it's the only women's segment on the show. After that, we had a Young Bucks promo. They're sad, Larson. They said, we're the first 2-time champs, but where are our friends? Donde está our amigos? And he's
hurt.
like, they're all hurt. Red Dragon's hurt. Now Adam Cole is hurt too. Even Cutler's out. There's an intern holding the camera. He's like, we have no friends here. And then Matt says, well, we do actually have. And then Nick cuts him off and says, we've got these tag titles. That's all we need. And Matt's like, yeah, the tag titles. They're teasing that Hangman Page reunion with the Bucks, man. Because Matt's like, we still have Hangman Page. He's still here.
Yep.
Yeah. Because they teased that at the end of the thing the other day. Yeah.
Cody.
Well, it should be, because they're probably like, man, creatively speaking, AEW's gone to the dumpsters ever since Cody's not, running the creative anymore. Anyways, he says, but here's the thing. Even though the Forbidden Door might be closed, it's still creaked open a little bit. If Yoshihashi and Goto want a shot at the tag titles, he says, you can have them, but you're going to have to beat us on Rampage first to get that title shot. And then Nick has a really bad joke about something like, if you want to get these tag titles, you're going to have to go to hell or something like that.
Yeah.
He's like, get it because his name's Goto.
Yeah, Go-To. Yeah, because I think Matt has called him Go-To earlier on.
Oh, no. Did I say Redragon? I meant, or I said Red Dragon. I meant Redragon. My bad.
How dare you?
Oh, my gosh. What am I thinking?
Come on. We got to gimmick that whole.
Get it together.
So before we get to the Blood and Guts match, they did announce that there's a Royal Rampage this Friday. Determine Mox's first contender for that interim title.
Yeah, so it's going to be like a Royal Rumble thing, huh?
Yeah.
I like that.
Apparently his opening Rampage. So that'll be fun.
It should be the entirety of Rampage. Royal Rumble's usually
should be. That'd be great.
An
hour long, I know.
Royal Rumble's usually an hour long. If you have 30 people anyways.
Yeah. Then we got Blood and Guts, of course, Jericho Appreciation Society against Mox, Wheeler Yuta, Claudio of Blackpool Combat Club, Eddie Kingston, Santana and Ortiz. We could go through a beat by beat run down this match. Just go watch it. It's tons of fun.
What were your top 3 visuals from this match? We could do that.
All right.
One of mine.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, it's my idea. I'm gonna start.
Sure.
I was going to give you some time to think, but then you jump right on it. Would be when Parker left via in between, like the one of the trusses, one of the things that's holding it together. He like squirrels through a hole in it, but then gets his legs tied up and he's just hanging there. And the camera goes right in on his face, and he's
bleeding
just
all over the place,
drenched in blood.
So I'll go back to when he got busted open, and this happened during a commercial break. And I'm happy they showed, or a picture-in-picture break, and I'm happy they showed close-up where Mox broke some glass.
Yeah.
Dumped it in the ring.
Yeah.
And then hit a pile driver on Parker on top of the glass.
Yeah, that's nuts. That was crazy. Yeah. There was a great shot of, it was right after Daddy Magic. What did he take? Like a spine buster or something on the tacks? Because there was an like at one point, I think it was Wheeler Yuta introduced just like a gnarly number of tacks.
It was Wheeler and Mox, dumped out a bunch of tacks.
It was a massive amount of tacks, and like Menard got dumped him, and then the camera goes right into him again, super bloody, just screaming bloody murder.
So early on, Mox introduces a fork. He's got a fork with him. And he stabs Garcia first, and then he stabs Menard, and then he pulls out of his back pocket some skewers, and then jams them in Menard's head.
That's right, the skewers. Oh,
yeah,
sucked. I did think though, because it stuck in my head the other day. I don't know if did you text me or did you say it on stream? I think you said it on stream.
What did I say?
The idea of Claudio turning on, on the Combat Club
because of his beef with Eddie.
Yeah,
seemingly Eddie's beef with him.
But at the very beginning, as soon as they get out there, Eddie was like, hey, let's just go do this. There was no continuation of that, but it did play perhaps into the finish, might give us an idea of what the first feud we're going to get is with Claudio. And it could, in fact, be a rekindling of the feud with Eddie Kingston because the finish saw Jericho start to climb up. Eddie chased him. He gives him the back fist up there. Claudio comes up and Sammy Guevara comes up.
Yeah, Sammy comes up. Yeah.
And then did Sammy go up? Sammy went up first.
Sammy went up first, and Claudio didn't come up until Sammy had already gone off.
Oh, because it was Eddie that threw him off. Okay.
Yeah.
So Eddie lays out Jericho, gives Sammy Guevara a low blow, and then chucks him off. And then Claudio goes up, and then what was it? Was it Chase Parker or Menard?
It was Menard. So Menard goes up there, and so Eddie has Jericho. I forgot what his submission's called. I apologize. Stretch something. And he's cranking back on that arm. He really wants to beat Jericho. Well, Claudio puts Menard in a sharpshooter. And so they both got their submission moves on up there, and Menard's the first one to tap. And so the bell rings and the crowd cheers and they realize they won. And Eddie, his first impulse is not to celebrate a victory. He's pissed that he didn't get the win and he didn't get to be the one. He didn't make Jericho tap, and he's upset at first. And I think it was compounded to a degree because it seemed like he might have tweaked his back or something. Because after they call the match over, Claudio tries to help him up, and Eddie just goes, "Nah, give me a moment. Something in my back. I'm fine, but just give me a moment." You can see him tell him that.
They had like a close up on him when he was explaining it. Yeah.
He goes, "I'll be fine."
Yeah.
I did like that it was Sammy going off the cage this time, because of course last time it was MJF threatening to throw Jericho off, and that was when Sammy says surrender,
too,
and then MJF throws him off anyways.
Yeah.
This time Sammy goes off. Nice little details there. But anyways, a lot of fun. Just crazy. And I feel awful for Santana. He was in the match maybe 20, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
When he tries to give, who was it?
Chase.
Yeah, maybe Uranagi, and his left knee just buckles. And he got up once other time during the match, like punched somebody and just fell right back down. So hopefully it's nothing severe, serious. Didn't look good. And hopefully it's not something that's going to keep him out of action for very long. Yeah,
absolutely. We also had, before we get to our questions, we had an NXT 2.0 on the road to, oh no, on the road to the Great American Bash. Larson, why the heavy sigh?
I didn't necessarily think it was a bad show.
Yeah.
It just felt long. I mean, I watched it this afternoon. I was out running errands all day earlier today. And somebody was just a bit tired by the time I got home.
Yeah,
but by the time I started watching NXT, I was like, "Let's one get going." Because it was a really talky episode.
Yeah.
I think there was 5 matches.
Yeah.
A couple of them were kind of short.
What were the matches here?
The opener, they gave time, even though that match doesn't make any sense. Why this match should even happen? Why are Carter and Chance wrestling Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez as a chance to be number 1 contender when Roxanne has a contract that should automatically make her and Cora Jade number 1 contender if that's what she wants to do? But here's the thing. Evidently, based on the show, because Cora and Roxanne won, Roxanne doesn't have to use her contract now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's what Mandy said later on. So it's entirely possible that Cora and Roxanne could win the tag titles next week, and then Roxanne could still go after Mandy.
Oh, okay. Well, that's convenient.
I know it's convenient.
I mean, it's weird.
It is weird.
It is weird. No, I don't know. If I'm like, hey, I'm going to use this contract to get that, and then they're like, well, how about you just have a number 1 contenders match instead? Oh, okay, cool. I'll just do that then. Right on. I mean, at least they didn't. At least they mentioned the contract.
Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
It should have been a situation where they should have had a segment backstage last week where Cora and Roxanne talked about the situation. You're like, well, if we do this, do I get to keep this? I think so. Oh, all right. So then it actually makes sense. It makes sense why Cora and Roxanne would accept the challenge when they could already be number 1 contenders. They have the contract for it.
Yeah. No, I feel it. I feel it. Yeah, no, I'm looking at this rundown here, man, and you're absolutely right. They sort of focus on all the wrong stuff. Number one, first and foremost, there was no Apollo Creed vignette where he did some more of his
Apollo Crews.
Creed. I don't want. Yeah, I've got Rocky on the mind apparently. Apollo Crews vignette where he displays some more of his time traveling or prognostication.
He did reference that though.
He did, but I don't want them to just put him now there. He's doing the prognostication. I want more vignettes. I want to see him out there in the real world.
I'd rather see these little video packages and him have to wrestle Zion Quinn. I agree.
And instead of a cool Sangha backstage segment, we had him in the ring. So they did everything backwards. There was a match that really didn't matter at all. Nikita Lyons versus Mandy Rose. We knew Nikita Lyons was not going
to win that. No. And then we have this Cameron Grimes, Braun Breaker face-to-face thing at the end, which didn't overstay its welcome, but it really wasn't that.
It wasn't very dramatic.
No, it was. They tried to make it dramatic by having Braun Breaker apparently dislocate his shoulder after breaking the top rope.
They did do something that was kind of shockingly refreshing that WWE doesn't. They do it from time to time, but not to this degree. They actually had a storyline segment explaining a character being written out of the show. Mm-hmm. So often when people get released, usually this happens like mass releases. When they release a bunch of people, like at least with NXT, Indy Hartwell, she lost her best friend and she lost her husband. And they allowed her at the very least to pine over it a little bit. She looked at her hand. She didn't say anybody's name. And she sort of was down in the dumps for a couple weeks about it. Mm-hmm. But they never explained why they were gone.
Nope.
In this case, they just killed off 2 dimes. Tony D'Angelo killed him.
I know. The segment literally starts with a splash into the water, and then it's on to Tony.
Yeah. So I kind of appreciate that. And on top of that, they're not. He's realizing like immediately, and this is like a 3-minute segment, if that. And it was like the highlight of the week. But he's realizing how terrible an idea it was to have the Legatos in his family when they at this point they outnumber him 2-1 or 3-1 or whatever.
3-2.
3-2. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. You're right though. I'm looking at this rundown and like they're doing everything backwards. Like the people who should be in matches are not in matches, and the people who are talking way too much.
Exactly. Show opened up with a pretty solid match between Caden Carter, Katana Chance taking on Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez, become new number 1 contenders for Toxic Attractions tag titles. Fun bout. Chance and Carter are looking for their finish on Perez, and then Cora trips up Carter, and that allows Roxanne to hit Katana with Pop Rocks to get the win.
Yeah, what's going to happen with, is Carter and Chance ever going to... should we just stop expecting like anything to happen? Because now they're just referring to them as veterans. Because they are. Like they've been there forever.
They've been a tag team forever in relative terms for WWE. Mm-hmm. And they take a loss and they just go in the locker room and kick over someone's luggage.
Yeah.
So then we go to Diamond Mine Gym. Creeds are training there. And then Joe Gacy and Dyad enter. Mm-hmm. And Gacy says, well, Roderick Strong doesn't appreciate your brilliance, but I will welcome you to our family. And Julia says, yeah, we may argue here in Diamond Mine, but Diamond Mine is forever. Roddy steps in. We're a family. We don't mind showing you how strong our bond is. And then Joe says, if you want to prove that you're family, let's do it tonight. So that match happens later.
Yeah. Then we had a Toxic Attraction interview. JC says she was unimpressed by the performance of Perez and Jade. Gigi says it doesn't matter if Cora and Roxanne are best friends. We've beaten best friends, enemies, frenemies. We beat them all. She says next week will be no different. Then Mandy says Perez should have used her contract for the tag titles in the first place. But if she thinks about using that contract on me, that's not going to happen. And then Nikita Lyons steps in. Says Perez wouldn't have won the contract if I was still in the tournament. Says, tonight I'm back in the ring, baby, and my eyes are on Mandy. And Mandy says, eyes are on me all the time. Says, you can find out tonight when you step in the ring with me that I'm the queen of this jungle. And then we got your favorite wrestler, Giovanni Vici.
Well, here's the thing. I think Fabian Eichner is a fantastic wrestler.
He's great.
He's really good.
Magnifique.
This gimmick's not working.
It sucks.
It does suck. It sucks. He wins. He guess he avoids the Jiro's double springboard moonsault, hits the springboard tornado DDT, which looked great, and that spirit bomb. Shit.
Yeah, it was great. Oh, I know. It's killer. Did they do this the first time, like last or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was he got that first win as his character, where at the end they do this still and it says Vittoria?
I don't remember the title, but I think they did this freeze frame at the end, yeah.
I think they did, but I don't remember it saying Vittoria. And that actually fucking made me laugh because I'm like, oh, it says victory down there.
That's funny.
That was pretty funny.
Then we got a Carmelo and Trick interview. Carmelo says he became the A champ without even trying, thanks to a few things. He says hustle. Trick then says swagger. Carmelo says loyalty. Trick then says confidence. And they both say together, and disrespect. It takes all those things to become the A champ. That's why no one will ever get one over on me, and no one can tell me a damn thing because every rule has an exception when you're exceptional talent. And then Grayson Waller steps in. This part I actually kind of like. So Grayson Waller steps in. He's got a basketball. He's got a stack of stuff. And he's like, hey, all my mates back home, massive Carmelo fans, can you sign some stuff? So Carmelo signs a basketball. There's 8x10s. There's all sorts of stuff. And so Carmelo's just signing it all. He looks at Waller's pendant and says, oh, man, that's great. And so he finishes signing everything. Waller goes, hey, thanks. You're the man. And just leaves.
Yeah. They're like, oh, I can trust that guy.
Yeah. They're all very cordial.
Yeah, it is. It's very nice. Then we find out the deception a little bit later. Is there any chance Carmelo, he's trying to usurp that Cena SummerSlam match? He's trying to get in on that by referencing hustle, loyalty, and disrespect?
I wouldn't read into it too much. It's the week of the 20th anniversary of his debut. I think
I'd
it's just
be
a little
down
nod
to see that match, though.
I would be too.
Yeah,
I would be too.
After that, we had a Briggs and Jensen promo. They come out with their NXT UK titles. Briggs says, we love to fight. We crossed continents, and we fought the best NXT UK had to offer. And he says, we understand that injuries are part of the game. We've got a title match waiting for Smith and Carter. Which one is it? Carter? Smith? Smith. Yeah, Smith. Smith is better. Crowd starts chanting USA, of course. So Jensen recalls, he's like, when we first met, ever since that day, I busted my ass for the fans and for Briggs, and I thank Briggs for picking me to be his partner. Briggs says, I'm proud of you, brother. He says, but there's one thing left to do now that we've got these titles. And then Fallon says, let's drink some beer. And then Pretty Deadly walk out, and they're like,
boy.
Yes, boy. He says, those titles were once gorgeous because we made them that way, but now they've been spoiled by the grubby hands of American trailer trash. He says, those belts smell now. And then Jensen says, the only thing I smell is an Alabama ass whooping coming their way. And Elton says, Briggs and Jensen don't deserve the titles. There's only one team that can raise the prestige of the titles again. Yes, boy. And Briggs tells them, shut up. We know a lot of great teams have held that title, but Pretty Deadly ain't one of them. Fact of the matter is, we're going to be fighting champs. Pretty Deadly, keep talking, and they get to fighting right now. Jensen punches Prince. He and Briggs both clear the ring.
Then we get a Braun Breaker video package, and then we get Carter and Chance walking the women's locker room, and Caden just boots somebody's luggage. Is that
going to be her new gimmick now? Now they just got to re-gimmick. Because every time they lose a title match or anything like
gimmick,
that,
I know.
They get a new gimmick, yeah.
So she's complaining about losing, and Katana Chance is like, I know we're better than Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. I know we're better than Toxic Attraction.
They're not.
I mean, win-loss record says no.
Objectively, they're not.
Yeah.
After that, we had Indy Hartwell versus Kiana James. So is Indy Hartwell moving on to main roster, or is she just going to be just like a Kaisa Confidence thing?
Don't know.
Because Kiana James got the win here. It was a cheaty win because he had her feet.
Yeah.
She barely made her feet to the ropes.
I know.
There.
It was like tippy toes.
Yeah. Indy misses a springboard elbow. James rolls her up with her feet on the ropes to get the win here. So I don't know what's going on with Indy. She needs to go to main roster, man.
She does. She's really good.
She's great.
Then we got the Tony D'Angelo bit, splash in the water. They killed off Two Dimes. That's the idea here. And Tony says because Two Dimes made a move for his chair, his phone rings, he answers, it's Santos, and he just ends up chucking his phone in the water.
Yeah. After that, we had a Wesley promo. He says, I was in the ring bearing my soul, and Trick ruined my moment. He says, Trick thinks the fact that I wear my heart on my sleeve makes me weak. It's my strength, and Trick is going to see that strength at the Great American Bash. He says, nobody's going to stop me from finding my inner peace in that ring. He's so determined to find peace, man. He's violently looking for that peace, Larson.
Then we got Diamond versus Joe Gacy and the Dyad, Grizzled Young Dyad.
Soon to be Joe Gacy's.
Yeah. So, like, Julius is basically about to win this match. Roddy tags himself in, and Julius, understandably, ain't happy.
No, man. No, I'm sorry, but if you're trying to get me to think, or WWE, not you, if WWE is trying to get me to think that Julius is the guy I'm supposed to be siding with here, what a bonehead move. People tag themselves in all the time. I get it. He was about to do the finish, and he was about to win the match. I get it. That shit happens, right? We all know what Roddy's like at this point in his life. He's kind of a dick. Tags himself in. Roddy knows what he's doing, though. He's not some chump, and you're against the dyad. All right, you get the hell out of there. You don't stage conflict mediation right here in the middle of the ring. You don't air your grievances during the match.
Roderick's done that. He's done that.
He's done what?
Air grievances during the match.
That's fine. Julius should be above that. Stay out. Let Roderick do his thing.
No, he's new. The Creed brothers are relative rookies. They've been on TV less than a year. They're still learning these things.
They're the tag champions, man.
Yeah, they're still learning.
You don't. Come on. Basic rule number 1. Chase University tag team wrestling number 1. Once you get tagged out, you stay out unless you're going to help your partner continue with a double team move. You hit X.
You didn't understand that Julius was trying to help his partner. He felt like Gacy was about to charge, and so that's why he was pushing Roddy. See, I saw that. You didn't realize that. So anyway,
you didn't see anything.
So they're shoving, and Roddy's shoving Julius back to their corner. And so Joe Gacy tries to hit his finish, tries to take advantage of the situation. Brutus gets in there and pounces Gacy out of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So Brutus tried to help.
Yeah, that's true.
Doesn't matter. Dyad hits Roddy with their finish to get the win.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Julius, he needs to look, you get tagged out. You get tagged out.
You know, you got to understand, too, that everything that's been leading to that point.
Yeah,
Roddy's been an asshole to him.
He has been a royal asshole to them. So anyways, that comes to a head a little bit later on.
Yep.
Trick and Mello are about to leave the PC, and Mackenzie steps in for an interview. And they're like, what do you want? And Trick is like, yeah, I'm going to defeat Wesley. What's good? And then Mackenzie's like, well, actually, I want to talk about Mello defending the North American title against Grayson Waller. And Mello's like, the fuck? What are you talking about? And he's like, Waller's my guy. I just signed a bunch of shit for him. Mackenzie says, no, you signed the contract. And then Trick figures it out. He's like, oh, that Grayson's a snake. And Mello says, you need to tell Waller, when you trick me, you trick yourself. At Great American Bash, Trick is walking out with the W, and I'm walking out still North American champion.
Yeah.
So I guess one of the items he had him sign was a contract.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. That's actually pretty funny. Then we have a trainer about to give a medical update at Alba Fire. Lash Legend pushes him out of the frame.
Out of here, nerd.
And declares Alba's out of action permanently.
So is she heading to main roster? Or is that just Lash Legend fabricating information?
I believe it's the latter.
That's a pretty big deal if somebody is out permanently. That means forever.
I know.
After
that doesn't mean forever. That's correct.
We're going to get Sanga versus Zion Quinn, but Zion attacks Sanga on the ramp. The refs come out to break it up. NXT rolls on. We come back. Diamond Mine's backstage. They're arguing. Oh, boy. Roddy says, appropriately, all you guys had to do was listen. They're like, all we do is listen, man. And all you do is blame us for everything. And then Roddy says, fine. You want to do this? I'm going to challenge you guys to a match against me and Damon Kemp for the tag titles. Damon Kemp looks so over it. He's just daydreaming about Wolfgang and drinking beers.
Yeah, he just wants to go. He just wants to go drink.
He says, then maybe you'll learn a lesson. Roddy needs to go and join Chase U because it's all about teachable moments, Larson.
Yeah, really. Or he needs to go drink beer with Damon and Wolfgang and chill out.
He needs to chill the fuck out is what he needs to do.
He needs to go hang out with Chill Sanga because he has his match next against Zion Quinn. Sanga wins with the chokeslam.
Sanga looks great, man. There's a lot of beef on that dude right there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Chill Sanga's great.
Then we got a Wendy Chu video package. She was talking some trash about Tiffany Stratton. Then we got Nikita Lyons versus Mandy Rose. No finish here. We got DQ finish, I guess. Toxic Attraction hits the ring to attack Nikita after Lyons hits a bunch of kicks. JC hit her with a chop block, and then Roxanne and Cora Jade come out to make the save. Then we got our Apollo Crews segment, but it wasn't this kind of time traveling thing or whatever it is he's got going. So it's
it'd be kind of cool. What if they like do one of these backstage segments, but like it's the same philosophy as the film stuff? So like he talks to Solo Sikoa, but then like the conversation ends, and then Apollo Crews just says the same thing from the very beginning of the conversation. So I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I just traveled back in time. He's like, no, you didn't. We're just sitting there.
No, you did. You're staying here the entire time. You just said what you did 5 minutes ago.
We already had this conversation, man. What are you doing?
So
like, he gets out his journal. He's like,
time is a flat circle. So Solo's upset he lost Waller, and he's like, oh, I wasn't for that exposed turnbuckle. I had him beat. Waller got lucky. And then Cruz says, hey, you're going to get Waller back. You're magic in the ring. And Solo says, man, thank you. That means a lot coming from you. And then Zion steps in and goes, would it mean a lot coming from me? The answer is no, obviously.
No, you're a dickhead.
And he says, hey, it's been 3 years since you've been here. Hasn't it been longer?
I think it has been. Yeah, I think
it's been like 6 years.
Well, yeah, but in Apollo Crews years, it's only 3 years because of his time traveling.
It could be. He goes, hey, a lot has changed.
And here's the thing: when he steps in, he's such a low talker.
He's is like, a low talker.
Man, a lot has changed since you've been here. 3 years. He says, if you want to be. And then he starts explaining to Cruz what it is to be the perfect NXT superstar. This guy can't even get past Songa, for God's sake.
Yeah.
He's like, if you want to become the perfect NXT superstar, you can't, because it's me. So I was like, oh, I thought you were going to tell him how to do it.
Yeah, no, he's saying he's a perfect NXT superstar. We just lost to Songa.
And then Cruz says, on paper, your future looks bright. Time is a flat circle. He says, but when I look at your future, doesn't look too good.
Oh, see? Time travel.
And then he says, when I look at your future, it doesn't look too good. He's like, you just said that.
Oh, you just said that. So then we got a JD McDonough video package. Similar to the last one we saw last week.
So the thing is here, in NXT UK, he was the ace. But the twist is wherever he goes is the ace. It wasn't it wasn't there. It's just wherever he is the ace. That wherever he goes,
regardless of where he goes.
I go to McDonald's. Guess what? I'm the ace.
Ace of McDonald's. Exactly.
Go to Home Depot. Guess what? Ace of Home Depot. I go to Ace. I'm the ace of Ace.
There you go. Ace of Ace. Yeah. I go to Bass Pro Shops. I'm the ace of Ace Bass Pro Shop.
Oh, see, man, these NXT reviews, these are when I get stupid.
Yeah. Then we got Cameron Grimes, Braun Breaker face to face. Wade Barrett's in there for some reason. Braun tells me get out of there. We could take care of this. They're trying to build up interest in this match. Cameron Grimes right now is more interesting than what he was a few weeks back.
Yeah.
But he's not quite as dynamic.
He feels more comfortable. He just feels more comfortable. It's all kind of stupid. This bit where Wade Barrett's in there, who looks like a real WWE superstar. He's so big, and then he's got massive. Like this little NXT guys. So Braun Breaker's in there with Cameron Grimes.
Well, to be fair, I think Wade Barrett's like 6'6". Like he's massive. He's a tall dude.
He's main roster size. That's the point. Those guys are rare.
Isn't Braun like 6'2"?
Braun, I doubt Braun's taller than like 6 feet, man. I don't think he's that tall. Cameron Grimes might be 6'2". I think
6 foot.
Yeah, I think Cameron's taller than Braun Breaker.
That could be. Yeah, Cameron Grimes is surprisingly tall.
He's like short for WWE size, but he's tall for NXT size. So anyways, Braun
says Grimes is 6 foot.
Really?
Yeah.
To the moon. Well, maybe when he gets to the moon, the gravity stretches you out a little bit,
We have to get close to a black hole for that to work, Steve.
Like a neutron star. Anyways, so let's just get through this last bit here. So Braun,
I said the end of it. Braun goes into the turnbuckle, and then Grimes sends him in again and pops his shoulder out. The top rope breaks. The end.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
There's just some trash talk before that, like Cameron Grimes
is saying, "Oh, your dad got you here."
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, he said his dad had no heart. He said Rick Steiner had no heart, and that's why he's never world champion.
Concert Crap says Barrett is main roster ready. Send him up. He did a little bit though when they had some news about something. He says, "Oh, breaking news, Barrett."
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Him and Vic get along so wonderfully.
They have good chemistry.
They do have really good chemistry. Yeah.
So after Braun's shoulder pops out, you have trainers and refs come out, and then Grimes kind of kneels down to him and says, maybe you're right, 100%. Maybe I can't beat you. Don't look like you're 100% now.
Yeah. Eek. Yeah. Doesn't seem
'Cause
like
Braun
you're
goes,
100% now.
Braun, I think, says, I think it's out. It's out. It's out.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of weak too. Like he just got flung into the.
How many times have we seen Bret Hart go 100 miles an hour into that turnbuckle?
Well, he
never dislocated his sternum.
Yeah, I know, because I'm Bret Hart. I'm not a weak Steiner. Blake Whitehouse says, "When do you think the Acclaimed will win the tag titles in AEW?"
They're great. They're really good. That tag division is so loaded. I don't know.
It's stacked. It's
like Santana and Ortiz haven't even been tag champs yet, which is mind blowing.
Ortiz, Redragon. There's a number of tag teams that are probably gonna have those titles before the Acclaimed. But they're terrific. They're great.
Yeah,
dude,
they're
Castor's
really
killing me, man. That white face thing. He's so white. You guys cheering a guy wearing white face. Oh, that was funny. Yeah.
Cornbread Haas asks, what did Eddie Kingston eat in catering after the match? Hopefully he got some ice for his back.
Shit, some Reese's pie, baby. That sounds hella good. I'm going to have an ice cream sandwich after this. Let's see here. Soak and Roast says, when do you think is the right time for AEW to announce the Trio Championship? Well, but Cole, if it's going to be Cole and Red Dragon, they're all injured. So it can't be that.
Nope. It's going to be Blackpool Combat Club. Put him on Mox and Claudio and when Bryan Danielson comes back.
Woo! And Bryan Danielson, he's injured right now, too.
Woo!
Yeah. So
they'd never lose those belts.
You gotta wait a second. I mean, it could be Eddie and now who knows about Santana, because Eddie and Santana Ortiz could have been them.
Yep. Yeah.
So you got to wait for some of these injuries to subside.
Yeah, you do. Fear and Loathe asked, if the moon was made of spare ribs, would you eat it? The only issue is that space is a vacuum, and if I take my helmet off, I die. If that was an issue, there'd be no moon. I'd eat the shit out of the moon if it was made of spare ribs. Hell yes.
There's already been people out there. Like dust hits it, like space dust hits it. It's fucking like rocks hit it and stuff. It's disgusting. It's like he's gonna
ribs,
like fucking ribs just out there in in your backyard, just hanging out there. It's been there for like millions of years. You're just gonna eat that.
But it's cold out there, so it's preserved. It's space, It's like putting it in your freezer
and then trying to heat it up. Eat it up. Most Post says, now that we're basically halfway through 2022, who do you have as great a singles, tag team, and women's wrestler in AEW thus far?
FTR for tag team. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Singles.
I mean, it's Kenny is the best singles guy.
No, for this year. I think the question is this year.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Danielson.
Yeah, probably Danielson.
Yeah, Danielson.
Probably Danielson.
And then
women's wrestlers?
Or Cody. Yeah, Cody. Probably Cody.
I'd say for women's wrestlers, it's Jade.
Probably, yeah. Let's see here. Oh, this is great. Gregory Fiella says, my brother and his fiance got me a cameo from Kurt Angle asking me to be the best man at their wedding. That's cool.
That's super cool.
He says, who from AEW or NXT 2.0 would you pick to be your best man, excluding Miro? These days I wouldn't choose Miro to be my best man. But that'd be like a bummer of a bachelor party at this point. We're going to go to church.
It's the Acclaimed.
Oh, that's good, yeah. Yeah.
Lord Naroku, if a wrestler had to recreate the music video for Once in a Lifetime. Talking Heads, right? Once in a Lifetime. That music video.
Yeah.
So you're doing the dance and stuff.
Yeah.
Who would you pick?
Danhausen.
Do it. Yeah, that's good.
Danhausen. Yeah.
It's good.
Well, or Eddie. Could you imagine Eddie doing that? When's the last time you saw it? I've watched that video recently, multiple times. Yeah.
Isn't there a dance where he does this?
Yeah. And then there's like a multiple, what's his faces?
David Byrne.
David Burns, yeah.
That's part of this.
Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Apparently a lot of those lyrics were just sort of made up on the spot. That's what I read. I read it in one of the YouTube comments. Who knows if it's true? People saying whatever they want there.
I guess so.
Let's see here. Cameron Bartolozzo, what other gimmick matches would AEW have that WWE IP associated with? What would they call What would they call Money in the Bank? Funds in the attaché case. I mean, they're getting lazy with Royal Rampage.
Yeah, I know. Trying to think of like something that rhymes with deal. Seal the deal or something like that. I don't know. That's terrible.
No, that's good. I like that. Or steal the deal. That's good.
Steal the deal. That's good.
Seal the deal's good. That's good. And then like its theme song will be "Kiss from a Rose."
What about Beat the Clock Challenge?
Oh man, get there in time.
Okay.
Get it in. Next up on AEW, get it in time. That's a terrible idea. Time is a flat circle. AEW Dynamite.
There you go. The flat circle match. There you go.
The flat circle match. Perfect. Xavier Gray says, which of these top 4 picks do you think has a chance of winning the match this Saturday? Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, and Asuka. It's Becky. And there's
Becky's gonna win.
There's no story for anybody else at all. It's Becky 1,000%.
Yeah.
The men's side is a lot more up in the air.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So I guess, if we're going to do the briefcase thing like we did last year, then it's probably going to have to be for the men's match because there's just more. If we all think Becky's going to win, there's not much drama associated with that,
Okay, yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out tomorrow at SmackDown because we're doing our predictions.
Sounds
good. Let's see here. Luis Areza, when was the most opportune time for a John Cena heel turn?
It would have been interesting if he had turned heel in his feud against The Rock, like was kind of planned.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he went heel against Punk, if he joined, was like the Authority or something, like what if he just sort of really went head first into the idea that he's the chosen guy there?
Yeah, that's good.
Let's see here. Lord Ziffer, assuming Punk is healthy by All Out, would you rather see Punk Mox main event or FTR Young Bucks?
FTR Young Bucks.
Tony calls us. Say, hey guys, what do we do? What do we do? Yeah, FTR Young Bucks. Make that a big deal. Let's see here. Alex Foster says NXT ratings have been up recently and Songa has been on TV a lot more recently. Coincidence? No, he's a draw.
He is.
Totally a draw. Blake Whitehouse says, should Blood and Guts be reserved for pay-per-view? No, not at all. I love when Dynamite does themed episodes.
Same. Organ Grinder. So what do you think of the Elias Ezekiel storyline? I admit I didn't like the Elias character, but the Ezekiel thing has kind of gotten over with me. I like it. We said this before. In the hands of basically anybody else, I don't think this would have worked, but having Kevin Owens be the foil to Ezekiel was perfect casting.
When Ezekiel first debuted, and I was like, what is this? And as soon as he said, with just the most deadpan look on his face, I'm Ezekiel, Elias' younger brother, I immediately was like, this is genius. This is fucking brilliant for this guy, because we all knew that Elias had talent, has talent. Yeah, absolutely. This was the guy for it. From the second it started, I was like, this is great. And then the moment when Ciampa, during the Ciampa interview, where he says, oh, easy mistake to make, Kevin. He's Elias' younger brother. It's Ezekiel.
Oh, it's the throwaway at the end when everybody leaves and he just Ciampa shrugs, goes, it's Ezekiel.
Yeah. It was like, oh, this is where they're going with this. This is brilliant. And yeah, Elias was getting boring. You know, he had his moments, but man, that gimmick had such a ceiling to it.
And arguably his greatest moment on the main roster was with Kevin Owens by his side.
Yeah.
It's that bit in Seattle.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Let's see here. Gregory Mullen wants us to compare this version of Blood and Guts and the first one.
I felt like this one was wilder.
Felt that way. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, it was just going pretty crazy, huh? Let's see here. Okay. Rob Conway, guy, says, where do you think they go with Kingston after he didn't get Jericho to tap? I would hope Kingston would still want to drink Jericho's blood. That should not end. That being said, I wonder if they're going to sort of maybe do a couple things, because clearly you'd think he's going to have problems with Claudio getting that. Or maybe they're just going to say, hey, because what's Claudio supposed to do? Oh, no, go ahead, please. You want to win the match. Maybe he'll just be like, hey, you know, I'm not done with Jericho because I didn't get what I wanted because of Claudio.
This is what's going to happen. There'd be one more match between Eddie and Jericho. Jericho's going to win it.
Yeah.
And Eddie's going to be pissed at Claudio because he couldn't get his moment. Because after Jericho wins, I guess that's just it, you know?
Yeah, right.
Maybe Jericho drinks his blood. No coming back from that.
Yeah, right.
And so he goes to Claudio and go, you deprived me of my chance to
drink his
beat
blood.
Jericho. Yeah.
That's good. All right, that's going to do it for us, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. Tomorrow is our heavy streaming day over on Twitch.
Oh, yes.
We've got the Numbers Don't Lie, and we've got Smash Zones. That's our heavy streaming day because we stopped doing the NXT UK reviews.
That's true.
Alongs. Join us for that. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Stone Cold Steve Austin impersonator Phil McDonald, here to tell you to go support Going In Raw and Friendo Club at patreon.com/Steven Larson. They got bonus episodes, ad-free audio, a weekly newsletter rounding up the week in wrestling news, and a bunch more. Patreon.com/Steven Larson. Go support or get hit with a stunner.